Hello and welcome to News Now on TV360. I am Thelma Okoro. Kaduna State Governor Nasir El-Rufai wants those behind a 3-month ultimatum given to Igbos living in the northern part of the country to be arrested. In a statement, El-Rufai strongly condemned the threat, describing it as inciting and aimed at disturbing the peace of the country. The Iowa Youth Consultative Forum, a coalition of socio-economic groups in northern Nigeria, had issued a 3-month ultimatum for all Igbos in the 19 northern states to vacate the region. The group said if the Igbos fail to leave by the 1st of October 2017, it would use force to evict them. The group also threatened to take over all the landed properties currently owned, rented, or in any way enjoyed by Igbos in the northern part of the country. Lawmakers in Nigeria's House of Representatives postponed deliberations on the Petroleum Industry Governance Bill. This comes more than 2 weeks after the Nigerian Senate passed the bill into law. Majority Leader Femi Gbajabiamila informed the House that members were not prepared to debate on the bill and had approached him to have the consideration moved to another day. Shortly after, the Speaker of the House, Yakubu Dogara, put the motion to a voice vote, and it was unanimously supported. The bill will now be considered on Tuesday, June 13th. Stakeholders in the tourism sector say if the government fails to create viable policies, diversifying the economy from oil to tourism might be a tall dream. A conference to discuss the importance of tourism was held in the commercial city of Lagos. The tourism conference was organized by Waka About Africa to mark its 5th anniversary.
What we are doing today is to explore ways and means of improving our tourism. As it is today, finance as catalyst and ICT as catalyst for tourism and culture in a diversified economy. It is a very important topic for us because it's a unifying topic. There are many common things we have amongst us which can unite us. The misfortune we have in this country is that people who have no roots, strong roots, exploit differences in order to give themselves fake roots. That is why we have problems in this country. It is only the weak candidate that exploits tribe, exploits religion. Oh, I belong to a religion. We have not had a chance. Give us a chance, because it has no other quality except to find the embers of the opium of the people, religion. A strong candidate will not remember where he worships. A weak candidate will find the embers of where he worships as the only way he can rise.
Tourism and hospitality expert Charles Okeke says the government must be a driver of economic diversification from oil to tourism. As a critical player, he said only the government has the sole responsibility of laying a good foundation for tourism to thrive in the country.
A lot will be said in conferences and seminars and meetings, but none has been implemented. Non-implementation of policies. You look at the transportation, the aviation, which is under the transportation, the tourist sites, the festivals, the carnivals, medical tourism. We look at the food tourism. If the government can put people that are supposed to handle it and get the proper results, the economy of this country will improve.
Every government at every level, federal, state, local government, should be able to know what attracts people to their places and develop them. And then put it in the air so that people will know. And the people will troop in and move in. The Agongo Festival in Sokoto, is it Sokoto or Kebbi? Is something that attracts white men and all that. So government should devote more time and resources in developing its tourist potentials. There are so many of them in every nook and cranny of Nigeria. So it's a matter of shifting attention and knowing that this is where to go.
The Nigerian Senate has confirmed the nomination of 3 non-career ambassadorial nominees in the country. Those confirmed are Justice Silvanus Unsofo from Imo State, Joseph E.G. from Ondo State, and Yusuf Hina from Gombe State. Their nominations were confirmed after a report by the Senate's Committee on Foreign Affairs declared Unsofo was unfit for the office. Unsofo is 82 years old. In a move to encourage more people to come forward with information on stolen funds, the Nigerian government says it has paid 375.8 million naira to 20 whistleblowers here in the country. Finance Minister Kemi Adeosun says information from the whistleblowers led to the recovery of over 11.6 billion naira. The Nigerian government last year approved a policy to protect whistleblowers in the country. A court in Lagos has ordered the final forfeiture of 13 billion naira found in an apartment in Ikoyi, Lagos State, southwest Nigeria. The money was discovered in April this year by the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, following a tip-off by a whistleblower. It has since generated much controversy over who truly owns the money. The Rivers State government, as well as the National Intelligence Agency, say the money belongs to them, although no one has provided proof of ownership. Nigeria's former Minister of Finance Ngozi Okonjo-Iweala may be appearing before the National Assembly to answer allegations of corruption. The lawmakers are investigating some companies involved in the procurement of pre-shipment inspection contracts who forged tax certificates to anti-graft agencies. Others invited are Nenadi Usman, who is the former head of service of the Federation, as well as the former head of service of the Federation, Stephen Orosaye, and the former Accountant General of the Federation, Jonah Otunla, and all permanent secretaries of the Ministry of Finance since 1999 till date. The Ondo State government has denied sacking 600 local government workers attached to traditional rulers across the state. A press statement from the office of the governor, Rotimi Akeredolu, has confirmed this. The statement said, quote, the 600 workers were ad hoc staff integrated into local government service and made full members of staff. More on our top stories. As part of efforts to support the fight against corruption, top officials of Nigerian security agencies have met in Abuja. At the meeting, effective communication between law enforcement agents and the Nigerian public was identified as a way out of corruption in the country. The meeting also held a spotlight on how timely and relevant information can curb corruption.
If public confidence is increased between citizens and criminal justice actors, such as the Nigerian Police Force and the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, through specialized training sessions tailored to promote accountability and transparency, and if a system that operates zero tolerance for corruption and open communication is actively pursued in Nigeria's law enforcement institutions, then we argue that there will be a reduction in the potentials to partake in corruption, and Nigeria's economic development will be significantly improved.
The goal of this project is to strengthen relations between criminal justice actors, anti-graft agencies, and citizens through improved and effective communications. This pilot project will focus on supporting the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission and Nigeria Police Force to provide timely and relevant information to the public on their efforts to fight crime and corruption. Over the past year, the U.S. Embassy has been working closely with civil society, the Nigeria Police Force, and the EFCC on various initiatives to enhance government transparency, improve security, and investigate and prosecute complex financial crimes. This project supports those efforts by enhancing communication with the public and building trust with law enforcement organizations.
I know that the government needs to be very transparent and to be accountable to its action for the generality of the public. I understand that in order to fight corruption, in order to ensure justice, I know that we need also the confidence and trust of members of the public. If there's trust and if we are accountable to our action, a lot of these vices and challenges that we have would have gone. That we may fashion our programs that must also meet the requirement of the population, because government exists for the well-being of each citizen. The citizen also have some civic responsibility to the government to be able to achieve its objectives.
The Nigerian Senate has commenced hearing on a bill to establish a Southeast Development Commission in the country. The bill rejected at the House of Representatives is being sponsored by Senator Stella Odua and Sam Anyanwu. The Senate has referred the bill to its Committee on Establishment and Public Service Matters to report back in 4 weeks. A coalition of civil society organizations in Nigeria say they are against genetically modified organisms in the country. They say they believe that GMO crops pose serious health and economic concerns. A peaceful protest to register their displeasure was held in Abuja, the nation's capital.
When you genetically modify a crop, like one variety of maize, and maize will pollinate by cross-pollinate by wind or by insect. So whether others plant it or not, they are going to be cross-pollinated. So you're going to end up having one species. And if one disease attacks that species, we're going to lose everything. So GMOs reduce the variety of crops that we have in the country. They reduce the microorganisms in the soil because of chemicals. They are planted with chemicals. Chemicals to kill every other crop except the GMOs. And that means killing every other organism, whether beneficial or not.
We are worried because now that we have a biosafety management agency, we expect them to be unbiased about all this. I don't expect that the National Biosafety Management Agency will be the one promoting genetically modified foods. They are the regulators, so they should remain as regulators. Go into the market, find out all the GMO, all the foods containing GMO ingredients. Begin to advise Nigerians.
For anyone to say that the biosafety law was hastily passed after passing through the 6th and 7th assemblies, that's 2 assemblies, 8 years, is misleading and an attempt to cast a person on our national legislative and legal system. But that's no more an issue. On the assertion that the National Biosafety Management Agency Act does not give room for third party to appeal or seek redress, the Act made provision for any party to seek redress in the event of damage resulting from modern biotechnology, as you pointed out. We are, as I said earlier, on the same page. We are all together to sort this matter and solve this problem once and for all, no matter how long it will take. The Senate President and the Senate leadership and House of Reps Speaker and House of Reps leadership will in no way ever do anything which is against the Nigerian interests. You can be rest assured about that. I have the mandate to assure you that there will be no such thing as interest of any particular group against the national interest.
Yeah, relax. That is my brother and I want him out of this station now. Okay, can I just see the IPO of this case? IPO, how are you?
No, welcome, sir.
That is my brother and I want him out of this station now.
Do you know the offense he has committed, sir?
What do you guys want for the weekend? Okay, let me see your DPO.
This way, sir.
Oh, better. You don't know me here. That boy is my brother and I want you to assist me to free him.
The man found the gun, confessed to robbery.
Things like this happen. 200,000 naira for you.
Are you bribing me?
500,000 naira.
Robbery suspect?
1 million naira.
That is corruption. Not allowed in this division.
1 million.
Remember, police is your friend. Giving and taking bribe is wrong.
Corruption, not in my country.
Stop corruption now.
Corruption not in my country.
Welcome back. Let's turn our attention to business stories now. The Naira continued on a gaining streak to hit its best point in 2017. It appreciated to as much as 362 Naira per dollar at the parallel market, its best position in 2017 after opening at 490 in January. On the official side of the market, the local currency traded at 304.55 Naira to the greenback, maintaining its recent stability. Shell has lifted a force majeure on exports of Nigeria's Focados crude oil. The grade, which typically exports 200,000 to 240,000 barrels per day, had been under force majeure since February 2016 following a militant attack on the main export route, which is the Trans-Focados pipeline. Just last week, Shell issued a loading program for June exports that lifted planned exports from Nigeria to at least a 15-month high. Oil prices dipped on Wednesday on renewed concerns about the worth of OPEC-led production cuts. This comes due to rising tensions within the export group over Qatar and growing U.S. output. Brent crude was down at $49.79 per barrel, while U.S. crude slipped to $47.89 per barrel. OPEC has pledged to cut almost 1.8 million barrels per day to help reduce global inventories to their 5-year average. Pieces of a Myanmar military plane which went missing have been found in the Andaman Sea. Over 120 people, including children, were aboard the plane when it crashed. Navy ships and aircraft had been searching since the afternoon when the plane lost contact with air traffic controllers. Twin attacks on the Iranian parliament and Ayatollah mausoleum in the capital of Tehran have killed at least 12 people and injured many more. After hours of intermittent gunfire, officials say both incidents were over. The Islamic State group has said it carried out the attacks, which would be a first in Iran. Iran's powerful Revolutionary Guards accuse Saudi Arabia and the U.S. of being behind the attacks. Moving on to sports stories now, Nigeria Super Eagles continue preparations ahead of their opening 2019 African Cup of Nations qualifier against South Africa. The Eagles are currently in Uyo, venue of their clash against their first group opponents. Other teams in the group are Libya and Seychelles. From Paris to Abuja and now Uyo, Nigeria Super Eagles are stepping up preparations ahead of the 2019 African Cup of Nations qualifiers. The game against South Africa will be played at the Godswill Akpabio Stadium in the Akwa Ibom State capital in the south of Nigeria. It's a match the team is expected to win. Absence of the Super Eagles from the last two Cup of Nations means the team has to begin on a good note if it hopes not to miss out of the tournament for a third time. One man who knows the importance of starting well is Ogenyi Onazi, a long-time member of the national team.
We expect victory as we're working very hard for this game, and not only this game, any game concerning the national team, we want to make sure we give out our 110%. Well, it's football speaks only one language, and I believe the young ones, they're doing very well in their respective clubs, and it's just for us to put our heads together. As you can see, we are here, the old ones, we're here to make sure we blend the team together, to make sure that we are one spirit and fight together for the country. No, we have it by heart. We know what happened, and we don't want to make it to look like as if it's a do-or-die affair, but we want to use this as an opportunity to make sure that we try to pay back to what has happened in the past.
Start with the big game.
National team coach Genaro has improved the form of the Super Eagles since he took up the job last August. The German remains undefeated in his 6 matches in charge of the team, and Nigerians will be expecting some good news come Saturday. He is, however, keen not to dwell on the past successes, charging his new team to overcome the challenges posed by the South Africans.
We're happy to see some new players. The first time, that's a left back, for example, Maruf. Some others are coming also, the Kayo, the Henry and other young players. We have a young team. We are missing some very important players who are injured. Our captain, our first goalkeeper, in the centre back, Balogun also. But I think that the young can do very well, and the team is in a big motivation. The game will be difficult because South Africa didn't lose since 2 years. About 13 or 14 games, they didn't lose. So it will be a big challenge for us to beat them. The message is that we want to try to continue our good series and to win again. But we know that this team now, I think, will be the most difficult team that we met since I'm here.
The last time the Super Eagles participated in the African Cup of Nations, they ended up as champions. However, since then, the team has been on a downhill spiral. But Raw has been able to turn things around. Nigerians will be hoping to avoid a repeat of the last time both teams met in a Nations Cup qualifier. At the time, the game ended in a draw, crushing Nigeria's hopes of making the 2015 African Cup of Nations. This time, Nigerians are confident things will definitely turn out differently. Super Eagles striker Odion Ighalo has been speaking about his transfer to Chinese Super League side. The 27-year-old moved to China from Premier League side Watford in January this year. In a chat with TV360's Deji Badamosi, Ighalo opened up about life in the Chinese league, his ambition to further his career in Europe and the Nigerian team.
There's no comparison, Like I said, English league, the Premier League is the best league in the world. I've played in Spain, I've played in the Italian league, played in Norway, played in England too. For me, for all the leagues I've played in my 10 years in Europe, Premier League is the most intensive league in the world. You can't compare Premier League to the Chinese league. There's no level, because the intensity in Premier League, you have to make sure you're ready for it, because in a game you see a team running like it's 90 minutes, it's attacking football and all that. You have to run, you have to be ready. In China, the league is just growing, It's a league that you're going to say maybe in the next 3-4 years time, when they are pumping money into it, bringing more foreigners, more foreign coaches, you're going to say they are growing bit by bit. Not the same way the Chinese league were last year, the same way it is now, because that's gone one level up. Maybe next year it's going to go another level, but it will be going like that, but you can't compare it to the Premier League. I went to China not just to go I want to win with my team, I want to do well and come back to Europe again, not just going there to make money and just finish my career. No, that's not what I went there for.
So do you plan, for instance, that at some point that you may come back to Europe?
No, I'll come back to Europe. I'm not going to finish my career there in China. In 2 weeks' time, I'm going to be 28. So I'm going to come back to Europe.
Do you think your going to China might have affected your chances of being called up to the Super Eagles?
I don't think so, because we have a lot of players there in China playing for the national team, The last time I was not called up is because I was out with injury. Spoke to the coach. This time, they didn't invite any player from China. The coach knows why, The team is playing on Saturday. I'm wishing them all the best. I even texted the coach 2 days ago. I'm wishing them, they have a young squad that can make Nigeria proud and all that. Me, I will concentrate on my club side, helping my teams to win games, scoring and doing well. If I'm being called upon, I'll go give my best, because Nigeria is my country, it's my national team. I still have age on my side to still play, and I'm waiting patiently for that time to take it again.
It's now a year since Nigeria lost one of its famous football icons, Stephen Keshi. Keshi, who is the last coach to lead Nigeria to an African Cup of Nations, died of suspected cardiac arrest. He was only 54. Leading his tribute, the Nigerian Football Federation and members of the current national team, Keshi went down in history as the only African coach to have qualified for 2 African teams to the World Cup. Togo in 2006 as well as Nigeria in 2014. His other enviable record is being the only African coach to have steered a team to the second round of the FIFA World Cup. with Nigeria at the 2014 FIFA World Cup in Brazil. May he rest in peace. And on that note, we end the news. Thanks for watching. I'm Thelma Okoro.